Okay, hold on. Gotta turn my light on. There we go. So I don't know if anyone can see me or hear me. I'm going to assume that you can by all the boxes I see. So welcome to my first ever live stream where I'm going to attempt the impossible and write a complete application. It's where I am. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We might be here until midnight tonight for me to get this done. What we're going to do is build this lead magnet app, which will look something like this. I'm not going for pretty because, the CSS and all that fiddling around will take hours. So I leave that as an exercise to you. But we're going to end up with an app that is basically like this. We're going to be able to create a new lead magnet, choose from a list of AI templates, write either a prompt or a URL in the case of a blog post summary, and it will go off and create something like I said, create me a listicle that's top 5 ways to make money online. It does this kind of silly thing. Or a summary of an article, summary of a news article about the Baldwin trial, summary of a news article. These are all fully auto-generated by ChatGPT, I believe in this case. I'm going to be connecting to ChatGPT in this demo. And what happens is we get a link. We will be able to copy a link, and I'm not sure if I can open another window here. I don't know how I have my OBS set up. Maybe you can see that. And then I can paste in that link, and it'll be an obfuscated link. Oh dear, that doesn't look good. So it has a link with just a bunch of gobbledygook there, just a random character, and then after a few seconds, this dialog is going to pop up. You can enter your name, email address, and when you submit, you get access to the article, and that email address will get sent to a mail provider. In this case, I'll be doing MailerLite. And on top of that, we're going to be able to customize this form. This is pretty cool, actually. We'll be able to change the color. And so I'm doing all of this in Rails. So if anybody who tells you can't do this straight Rails, they're wrong. So we have a live preview here, and it's great. So this preview will update. So we're going to do something like that. For me as a Rails developer, it's these things. I keep forgetting the camera's up there. It's these things that are kind of interesting. It's not actually doing the stuff that we're doing. And then it's got a settings where you can set a blur delay, send it to MailerLite, and you can go over to MailerLite and enter your user settings and enter your MailerLite API key. So that's the full application that we're going to be doing. Thank you for your comment there with just SMIE. And so let's get into it. Let's close this thing. You know what? I restarted my computer. Brave is totally different. I don't know what this stupid thing is. Minimize. Okay. I can close that. And I think we can hide this. And let's get started. So I'm going to do this mostly inside of Code. I use Code Insiders, which is a version of VS Code. By the way, if you want to get some real life Rails merchandise, you can check out my shop down below. Buy some coffee cups and t-shirts. So let's get started. Okay, enough waffling on here for 7 minutes. And where are my show notes? Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. There's going to be a lot of me. Well, it's all me talking to myself. So here we go. So I've created a directory called Magnet Maker, for want of a better word. I couldn't think of a better term. And we're going to just start with Rails new. We're just going to make it in this directory. We will be using ESBuild as our JavaScript engine because we are going to be using editor.js as the rich text editor. Excuse me. As the rich text editor, and that works mostly with Yarn. And I didn't want to spend 10 hours figuring out how to get it to work with import maps. We'll be using Bootstrap because I like Bootstrap, and I'm not going to be doing any tests because I want to get this done today. So let's create the application. It will go off and do its thing. Hopefully this stream is looking good. I've never used OBS to do a live thing before, so there you go. You should be able to watch this on a playback. I hope so, because don't want to have to do this again. And okay, so it's going to go off. It's just doing this is just the bog standard Rails stuff using Bootstrap and ESBuild as the JavaScript engine. Bootstrap gives you warnings in the Yarn compiler like this. The font weight, I don't know why. We're not here to fix the world today, so we're just going to accept that as it is. I'm going to add in the, just want to make sure you can see that. Yes. I'm going to add in the gems that I always use. So we'll do a bundle add only in development. So a group of development, and annotate, which is a gem that puts your database table schema into your Rails model as a comment. So it's very, very helpful. So you don't have to keep looking back at your migrations. And .mRails, which will gives the ability to set environment variables like we would on a real server. And yeah, so we need those two in development. And Rails, and we're gonna annotate install. That just puts in a rake task to do the annotate work. And I'm going to do this with devise. Now recently I've been not using devise and rolling my own, but that is not quite as robust, I'm willing to admit, and takes a little bit longer. So let's just do devise. And so we'll do a devise install. And then that's interesting. What's all that? All right, let's do that first. We don't need to set that root. We need to set this stuff in development. So we set the action mailer default. This otherwise devise freaks out when it tries to send out an email. We could put these notices, and we're not going to do that. And let's create the views. Because we're doing Bootstrap, in a perfect world, I would go back and update all the devise views to use Bootstrap. I may or may not do that. I probably won't do that. And now we're ready to create our user. So Rails generate devise user. Done. So we have our user and we're ready to start. Let's see what we can take a look at. So we can see that in the app, it's created a model of user. Nope, I haven't migrated the database yet, so let's do that. Rails DB migrate. You'll be able to see this user file change. With any luck? Yes, I'm using SQLite for this as well. And now you can see this is what annotate does. It updates this comment at the top so you can see all the columns in the database, indexes, and all that other good stuff. So we have the user and we have some views from devise. And if we set that, I don't have a controller yet. We'll do that later. I'll show you how to force people to log in a minute. So what are we doing here? We're creating an app that tracks lead magnets. So let's make a model called lead magnet. And yes, I'm going to use a scaffold. I think there's nothing wrong with scaffolding. So we're going to create something, a top level object called lead magnet. The way I've broken this particular app down is that I have a lead magnet, and then inside of that, kind of, not inside of it, but other objects will be the content that you see generated, the email sign up form. These kinds of things are going to be separate objects. So our lead magnet can be pretty simple. We just need to know who created it, reference it. And then we want a name and a template. And notice that I don't have to say, you know, a lot of demos they'll say this type string. You don't need to do that. By default, it is going to be a string. Prompt is a type of text because who knows how much the user is going to put in there as a prompt to seed the AI. So let's generate that scaffold. Huh? Unknown. Did I do something? Oh, Rails generate scaffold lead magnet references. Hopeless. What you'll see in this demo is my horrible typing. So we've got the lead magnet, and now let's generate a scaffold for the content object. And that references is lead magnet references fill, and it has some content which is going to be a type of JSON or JSON depending on how you like to say it. That's because we're using editor.js, and that natively stores its content as JSON or JSON. So let's go off and create that. It's going to create a whole bunch of views. To be honest, I don't really need to do a scaffold, but that's the way I have my notes. Rails generate another scaffold for the sign up form. And again, that belongs to a lead magnet. And that has a headline. Maybe submit button text. Has a bunch of other stuff that for some reason I haven't written down there. But that's fine. That's enough for now. And let's go to our roots and set our root to be lead magnets index. And what else do we need to do? So we have, as we can see, all of our objects created here. Again, I haven't migrated the database. Oops, my mouse not working. So let's migrate the database for now. Just quickly check over here. Nope. Okay. And there we go. Created the database. And let's take a look at our thing. So, you know, when you create things with a scaffold, so if we look at the sign up form, it knows that it belongs to the lead magnet, and the content knows that it belongs to the lead magnet. But the lead magnet doesn't know that it has those things underneath. So we should do has one content, and it's dependent destroy, and it also just has one sign up form, also dependent destroy. And because we're gonna do all this in kind of one big form, let's accept nested attributes for, I'm very concerned that my computer is slowing down and I've only just started. Content and sign up form. Okay. So what have we got? Let's fire this thing up. I'm going to do that from another window. Oh yeah. Whew. My computer is super slow. I'm going to not do this. I'm going to do this in here. Let's create a new terminal. I wonder why my computer is so slow. Probably OBS. So it's going to go off. Let's quit that. Painful. God knows what's going on. All right, so we should have something. If I turn Brave back on, now we can go back to localhost 3000. And this will be our, there we go, unexpected thingamajiggy. Belongs to user has one. Oh, it's not has one colon. Just has one. Unexpected thing or end belongs to user. What have I done wrong there? Here. There we go. Who knows what that was all about? So, you know, if you've ever done a Rails app, you've seen this a million times. It comes up, it's got this hideous form. all the rest of that stuff. We don't want anything like that. We kind of want a single page application, right? We don't want to be going to another form and then coming back and then loading and this and that. So first of all, let's give ourselves a nice toolbar, and we can hide this now. So in the application layout, HTML, I've got a toolbar that I've written earlier. That's your basic. I'm wondering if I should make this a bit bigger for you guys. There we go. Sorry about that. Maybe I should have done that before. So we have this is just copied kind of exactly from a Bootstrap example. It's going to see if the user signed in. These are all methods given to us by Devise. So if the user signed in, then we're going to show the user's email and let them log out. And if they're not signed in, we let them log in or we let them sign up. So let's save that. And then personally, I like to put my content inside of a div, just so we can say ID of main work area. Just leave that for now. So at least we should get, there we go, a thingy across the top. We've got a toolbar across the top. And we can't log in, so let's sign up, and we can sign up with my email, password. Did I do that right? Yeah. Again, like I would normally do this as a Bootstrap form and put it in the middle, but we're not here to figure out Devise. So there we go. It's all signed in. You can see I've got my email address up at the top here now, which doesn't do anything. And we've got a logout, and click on this and it takes us to the home page. So, okay, we've got our, oh my gosh, you can't see. Let me log out. That's interesting. Oh, we didn't do Devise users, did we, in the roots? Oh, it did. Don't know what the deal is there then. Oh, interesting. All right, we're gonna have to fix that. We'll come back and fix that. That is that Devise is not working right for a turbo. So let's see what we can do about that. Devise turbo. I'd like at least like that to work. Okay, we can change that sign out. I do prefer log out. And turbo method, delete. Let's hide you and see if that works. Okay, so what I did before is that a sign up, created my thing. Sorry, I didn't have this window shown. Sign up and, you know, but now I can log in. There we go. I'm logged in. All good. The reason that doesn't look so good is because it didn't, whoever wrote this that I just copied off the internet didn't put nav link. Excuse me, I'm very dry throated today. There we go. So that's gonna log out, looks better. Log in. Wrong password. Okay. All fine. Let's get rid of that. And let's move you up. Let's take a look. Yes, thank you very much. Sorry, I can't see the chat while I'm doing this. So I see now that CH, maybe from CH means something. Yes, we needed to add the delete request. Well spotted. Turbo method of delete, because we're using turbo. So that's pretty cool. We're all... Oh, he's from India. Welcome, welcome. So where are we? We've got the toolbar. All right, so let's get some funky stuff going on here. What I want to do is now I'm going to close my application layout, and we're going to work on the magnet index. Right now it's got this. What we're going to do instead, and yeah, sorry, I'm going to copy again, because if you guys have ever seen me, you know that it takes me forever to type something. So this is kind of my new layout for the lead magnet, and I'm going to walk you through what I've got here. Does this work if I refresh? Yes. Okay. No? There we go. So my new layout will give us a page that looks like this. Got the same thing across the top, but what I've done is broken the page up into 2 columns. So a column width in Bootstrap of 2 and a column width of 10 with a button over here. And the way that I did that was like this. So we created a container fluid. Container fluid is full width. Container, as you might know, inside of Bootstrap will put some spacing down the side. We're going to have too much stuff, so we want full width. So that's container fluid. We're going to create a row so that we can have 2 columns. We're going to have a first column, width of 2. We're going to give it a little bit of a background, color like they do sometimes. And we're going to create a button called Create New Lead Magnet. And that's going to open up a modal dialog box. And I'll show you the modal dialog box in a second. So we've got a button that simply opens up a modal. It doesn't go to another page, doesn't do a redirect. And then we're going to go through our list of lead magnets, and we'll show that in a second. And then we've got another content area on the right over here, which is I've given it an ID of lead magnet content, and that's what we're going to stuff our turbo responses into. So if I look at my modal, again, I simply created a modal, or I didn't create a modal, I stole a modal from the Bootstrap demo page. Please try to guide other people with solid principles. No Rails videos are found with such kind of... I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but anyway, I'm trying my best here. So, I want to create this single page type architecture. We're going to be using a modal. The modal is going to call up and render the lead magnet form, which is the form that Rails gives us. So I'm trying to use as much of the scaffolded code as possible. So if this is quite complicated, this OBS management. Refresh this page now. And we don't have any lead magnets. So what's the problem here? Undefined method errors for nil. Lead magnets, oh, right. The way that this form works, and if we take a look at the lead magnet controller, when you do a new in a scaffold, you see it's done this. So it's created kind of a dummy lead magnet that you use to make the form. We can do that here. We could do it in the form. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another. It's the same kind of thing. So I'm just going to create a dummy lead magnet here, and that will let the form render. Because we're doing everything all on one page, you just have to remember that you kind of need to pull in all these things at once. So I'm going to just save that, and let's refresh here. Okay, and now when we click this, it'll pop up, and this is simply the lead magnet form that the scaffold created for us, put into a modal dialog from Bootstrap. Nice, I think. And yeah, you know, it's all about, for me, as developers, you want to write as little code as possible. You know, you've got these libraries like Bootstrap gives you these things. Turbo gives you these things. Let's write as little code as possible. And actually, my app at the end of the day, the fully function app, probably has less code in it than a regular Rails scaffolded app, because I'm leveraging all the other libraries that I'm using. Okay, so we've got that thing that pulls up. So what happens though? If I wonder if I can do this so I can show both somehow. If I create a lead magnet here, okay, let's edit that form first of all, because first of all, it's pretty hideous. So let me just move that up. Let's edit that form. Most of the time I won't bother, but come on, sometimes you can't take it. We don't need a user ID, right? Because when we create, we're logged in. So what we can do is merge the parameters and set the user ID to be the current user ID. And you say, but Phil, how do we know they're logged in? And the answer is that we would normally put this. We need another before action here, and that's authenticate user. Again, this is something that comes straight out of Devise, and that means that to make any call to any of these action methods, or any method on this controller, you have to be logged in. And if you're not logged in, it'll kick you out to a login page. So we know that the person is logged in. So when we create, we can set the user ID to be the current user. So that's done. So we can take the user out of the form, which I've done already. We can set the classes to be form input, I think it is. Not the label, anyway. That class of form input. For now, we're going to leave that. This will eventually be a select in a minute. And text area prompt, I think that also should be form. It's not form input anyway, it's form control. Sorry, form control, form control. And let's make that button a little bit more interesting. So we're going to call this create, and let's make it one of those standard bootstrappy button button, small button, primary. So this should now look a little bit better. Let's close that, reload the page. And there we go, that's a little bit better. Should have some space there. Crap, you can't see it. So it looks there. That's with the bootstrap styling. I'm going to do a margin top of 3, and let's reload the page again. And there we go. Got some space above that create button. Personally, I would get rid of the close. I would maybe leave that header. So if we make this write me an exciting story of 500 words, you know this isn't going to work, I'm just wasting my time here. What happens? If I click create, we can see in the background down here, this is the output of the Rails app. So I'm going to click create, and it'll go off, and it creates it with the right user and test. But of course, this is pretty hideous. This is not what we want. And also, we can see that it creates it. Where's the create? We see here, it did do it with an action of TurboStream. So what happens when you do a submit? This is kind of clever in one way, but not clever in another way. If you hit the Rails server with a type of TurboStream and you don't have anything defined for TurboStream, it will just use the HTML. So that's why it looks exactly like the way it used to always look when we created Rails app from the last 20 years that I've been creating Rails apps. If we want it to look like TurboStream, we need to add, we're doing a create, right? So we need, okay, let's hide Brave. We don't need Brave for a bit. We're doing a create. So let's go over to our views here, and let's create a create.turbostream.erb. This will get rendered when we click the create, and it doesn't do anything. So what would we want it to do? So let's hide the form for now. The form is done. We don't need to do anything else with the form. It's sending something out already as TurboStream. We don't need to do anything else outside of what the scaffold produced for us. We can even hide the, no, we don't need to hide the index right now. We don't need to do anything else in the controller. We don't need, no, that's not true, we do. If we do a format.turbostream, we don't need to do anything like else. In other cases, we wouldn't even need to do that. Like in the case of new, if we hit it with TurboStream, we wouldn't need to do anything because it would by default call the right render method. But in this case, because we have these defined already for HTML and JSON, we need to define one for TurboStream. So we've got format TurboStream inside the create. That is done. We're done with the controller. So now let's look at the view, this create TurboStream view. What are we going to do? When we create it, we want to go back to the index page, right? And when we're back on the index page, we want to, what are the things we want to do? We want to put the name of that lead magnet that we just created in the list down the left-hand side. Yeah, I'm getting there. Down the left-hand side, we want to get rid of the modal and get rid of that graying effect that Bootstrap does in the background, and we want to put that new lead magnet that we've created into the right-hand side content. So those are the 3 things that we want to do. And we can do all 3 of those in one. Now, I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm sorry, because again, my typing is really quite horrible. So first thing we're going to do is append to lead magnet list a new list item. And if you remember, here's lead magnet list, and it's an ordered list already. And when we refresh the page, it'll get all the lead magnets and put them in as list items. But what we're going to do is, I got all this stuff right now. Anyway. What we're going to do right now is we're going to put that lead magnet in, just the name. And then what was the next thing I said we need to do? We need to get rid of the bootstrap modal. So we have we want to replace the div that has an ID of new lead magnet modal, and that's this div down here. We're going to replace its contents. Well, actually, we don't really replace the content. What we do is we put in a script. This is cool. I didn't actually know that you could do this until I was doing this demo. Class list. You can actually run JavaScript from inside the TurboStream. So we can add a script block, document dot query selector all, and we can find this modal backdrop class. That's spelled wrong. Backdrop class, and then for each we can remove them. And the modal backdrop class, I'm just going to show you again if I can. Move this up. Wrong one. There we go. See, everything goes dark back here. This is done by Bootstrap, and because we're doing something different to close it, we need to remove this manually. So that's the first thing. We've added the new list over here, and we've gotten rid of the backdrop. So what's the last thing I need to do? Oh yeah, I need to put the actual thing, the actual lead magnet, over here. And the way we do that is quite simple, really. So we're going to replace lead magnet content, which is the ID I've given to the main area on the right. We're going to replace that content on the right with whatever's in there with rendering lead magnet. And when you say render lead magnet, what Rails does is renders a partial with the same name as the object and passes that object in, actually. So this thing here, lead magnet, which is pretty crappy right now, we'll fix that in a minute, that should get rendered. So if I now go in and create another lead magnet, test2, another prompt, let's hope it didn't get rid of the background, but you can see it did everything else. There's the test2 over there is written in, and here's the content. Now, why didn't that get rid of it? You know, I had the same problem before. Oh, you're right. I see what you're saying now. Because I mistyped query. I was obviously thinking about some Dungeons and Dragons thing. Query. I see what you're saying. Let me try that again. Let's see if that fixes it. Let's create another lead magnet. You can tell I've done this before. Test 3. Again. There we go. And it's replaced the thing in the middle. So some progress there. So we've created the content. Well, we've created the view for the content, but what's the other thing we want to do? Well, when we click on this, we don't want to do that either, do we? We want to just simply replace that thing over here. Now, the interesting thing, can you see that? Jesus. Okay, when we click, we don't want to go to another page, right? We simply want to replace the content on the right. So while we're here, let's do that. That's another turbo stream. You can see actually that it's when I click on it, it is actually doing a show with, you see, it's the same thing, doing turbo stream, but we just don't have a turbo stream view. So if we create a new file and call that show.turbostream.erb, we don't need to change anything in the controller at all. And we've already done this. We can say replace lead magnet content. I'm just taking this out of the create. Lead magnet content with the rendered lead magnet. With any luck, I will be able to, okay, refresh the page. I don't even think I had to refresh the page, but there we are. So it's now just replacing that content on the right. So we effectively have our single page looking app. There's no page loads and all the rest of that gubbins. So there we go. That's not bad. I think for 50 minutes, we got 50 minutes. Got the app set up. We're creating it. We're using these turbo views. Everything is all nice and pretty. So, but you're saying there's not really any exciting content in there, is there? So I know what you guys like is creating the content. So, non-trivial here. Where's my other one? Let's stop the server for a second. Stop. There we go. Let's go back to our other console. And let's close everything. So we want to have, let me just move this again. So we want to have a nice, we want content generated by the AI, and we want it to look nice. And we're going to use something called editor.js. Now, editor.js gives you one of these medium the website, not small, medium, large, text editors. So if we call editor.js, it's free, which is very nice, and it's a block style editor with universal JSON output, and it gives you all these things, you know, like a floating bubble over your text to do all your stuff. So it looks very nice. It's relatively easy to get this working inside of Rails. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Takes about 15 minutes. So settle in. first thing we need to do is add in all of the stuff for editor. And like I say, we're going to use yarn, so we're going to add these in using yarn add. And the way editor.js works is that everything is a module. I'm not necessarily sure I'm a big fan of that, but that's the way it is. So we're going to add in all this stuff. Here's the main editor.js, and then we're going to add in the ability to do the header class, a list class, a link class, a paragraph class, an image class, and a table class. So that means inside of our content, we're going to be able to do all of those things. I'm not going to show all of these things today because once you do a couple of them, you get the idea. So we're going to yarn add all of that stuff. Right now, we're going to put that in and then we'll show it a bit later. And the other thing we're going to do in the next few minutes is probably get around. Am I? No, I'm not going to show. I'm not going to do the AI right at the moment. At the minute, we're just going to do this editor.js. Okay, so we've got all the stuff added in. Yarn add. Let's see if there's any comments there. Nope. Okay, maybe you guys have all left. I don't know. I'm enjoying myself. So when we create the lead magnet, after we create the thing in the database, after we create it, let's create the content. Or even better, rather than create, let's call generate content. And let's def generate content. I don't know what Copilot is thinking because we're not doing anything like that. We're going to do, right now we'll just generated content equals call generative AI. And we'll just pass in the prompt and the AI template. We're just going to stub this out for now. Okay. And then once we have that, let's actually create the content object with that text. Okay. So let's create content. Now, create content is a special method that will create this has one. So again, it's a little tricky. That's why I called this generate content. Because if I called it create content, I would actually call this Rails method. Create underscore is kind of a special prefix, and it will create that associated object. And it's kind of like, there we go, with the content of that. It's kind of like if you said, you know, self.content.new, same kind of thing, or create, I guess. Same kind of thing, but you can shorthand that to just be doing create content. And so let's def the call generative AI with the prompt and the template. And for now, we're just going to return. I had a little funny thing. I'll just do that. Copy that in. So it's just going to generate a string for now. So let's save. Save. Oof. Got some serious slowing downness going on. Save. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh boy. What is all that about? Yeah. super slow. I don't know what happened. It's like all of a sudden, and it only says it's using 10% of my CPU, so who knows what the other 90% is doing. Okay. I'm going to... I'm going to delete all these garbage lead magnets that I created. Wow. Holy cannoli, man. So lead magnet dot all dot each. Let's just get rid of those. Destroy. Okay, so I'll get rid of everything, and then let's start this up. So in theory, it's going to create the content. Once I know that it's created that content, then we'll get working on the editor.js stuff here. So let's get rid of you. Let's move Brave back up. Create a new lead magnet. Test one. Write a 500-word article about Star Trek TNG. I don't have any prompts. Let's create it. I wonder what's going to happen. And we're going to get an error. And we don't know the attribute content for content. That's interesting. What did I call it? Oh my gosh. Constant. So there's two ways to fix this. The easiest way is to do Rails DB drop. And see, this is why I copy and paste. I can hear you all laughing over there. Let's just fix it. Content. See, look what's going on. It's taking like 10 minutes to drop a SQLite database. Done. Is this saved? No. Shocking, really. It's taking so long. And then Rails DB migrate. Wow. And I don't think I can stop or anything like that. Honestly, I don't know why my machine is so slow. I'm going to just quickly take a look at Activity Monitor. See who it is that's the guilty party. Actually, it doesn't say that it's slow. CPU. Oh, it is OBS Studio. Oh well. What are you going to do? Okay, so we've recreated. Let's run it. 20 minutes from now, when it's running, I will simply create a new user. Okay, note to self. I could do delete all. You're right. I could do that. I'm so used to iterating over things. Sai has a very good point in the comments that I could have saved myself some cycles. Okay, are we ready? Holy cow, man. Users sign in. I don't have an account. Sign up. My email address. Sign up. I'm logged in. Create a new lead magnet. Oh, we can start test 1 at least. Write 500 words about Jean-Luc Picard. Why not? And let's see what happens. There we are. Prompt, write 500 words about Jean-Luc Picard. Notice I'm not showing anything there for the content. So let's just take a quick second. Lead magnet. Prompt. We're going to delete this in a second, but let's content. Content. And now generate content. There we go. Based on the prompt. There we go. So it did do that. My question is why it did not. Why didn't it load it into the view? Oh, there we go. It did it. I know exactly why. Generate content based on the prompt. That. Okay, so it is calling our content thing. So now let's get rid of all of this and let's start working on this view on the right where we're going to use. Yes, I know that it does that because I have to switch it manually because I kind of made a mistake in my Roberto Ruiz is saying that sometimes the browser stays on top. That's because I kind of screwed up the way that I'm doing this thing. I'm not showing a monitor, I'm showing a window, so that means I have to move the windows around manually. So like right now Brave's on top and then I have to move it behind manually. Anyway, I do want Brave on top at the moment, but what I'm going to do is here, we're going to now work on this right hand side. We're going to show editor.js here instead of this silly Rails view. So let's get down to it. Hopefully my machine will work. So the first thing, of course, we want to change that view. Let me put it back up for a second. What I'm going to do is I'm not a graphic designer or a user experience, or UI designer, or UX designer. I'm stealing this, as I said in the promo video, a lot from this guy, Philip Borrowman's lead creator. And he has a nested sidebar layout. So we've got a list of the lead magnets down here, and then inside of this, we're going to put another list of the sections of the lead magnet, and then inside of that, we're going to do a content. So we're going to have kind of another level of navigation here, and then we're going to see the content. So this is the way lead magnet looks right now. We're going to get rid of that. No more scaffolded lead magnet. We're going to do this instead. So we're going to do another container and another row. Oh my God, I did it again, didn't I? Okay. Here's the lead magnet as given to us by a scaffold. Here's the lead magnet that we're going to actually use. We're going to do another container fluid, another row, and we're going to do another 2-width column, which will have the lead magnet name and then a list of sections, for instance, like content. And then we're going to have the content area on the right. This should work right now. We shouldn't have to do anything. So let me quickly show that as it is. If I refresh, okay, and show you there. Oh, is it going to do it? It's thinking about it. No. And that's because it's still using my... Render lead magnet. Oh, that's interesting. So it's using the content. I didn't know it was going to do that. Let's try that again. Okay, show you. There we are. So we've got kind of this second level navigation. There we're going to show content, and then we'll be showing the email capture, and then we'll be showing the settings for this lead magnet. And we've got a content editor over here. This garbage is the stuff, again, generated by the scaffold. So we're going to replace this in a second, and here's where we're going to finally do our editor.js stuff. So let me hide Brave, and let's get down to some coding here. So, oh my, painful. First thing we want to do is be able to have the editor.js. So what we need to do is, we've added in, using Yarn, all of this stuff. Here is where we're going to start using Stimulus. I love Stimulus. So we're going to create a Stimulus controller called Editor. I will be doing a lot of copying and pasting because you've already seen why. And a little tip about Stimulus is that inside of application.js, not that one, JS, this one, you can turn on application debug. And this thing is awesome. It saves you having to put console logs everywhere. It will write in your browser console log automatically every time you go into a Stimulus method. So it's very, very handy. Top tip is to turn on application debug in your JavaScript controllers application.js. So we've got this, and what am I going to do? There we go. So we've added the Stimulus controller. Just going to quickly take a look at what I'm talking about here. And I think, yes. So, inside of the content, this content, how can I explain what that is? This is the object renderer for content, right? You've got this is the one for lead magnet, and when we call this render lead magnet content, it goes off and calls the content model renderer for this, and it's this one here, inside of contents underscore content. We don't need any of that, but for now, what we'll do is we need a form, because we want to have kind of a hot view, right, of the content. We want to be able to see editor.js. It's called editor.js for a reason. You're editing. So we kind of need it to be in an editor view. And so we're going to do a form. That means we're going to wrap everything inside of a form. And to get the editor.js is actually quite simple. We're going to just set up some content. We've already associated it to the Stimulus controller edit. We can get rid of all of this stuff here. We're creating a div and not using form inputs, because that's kind of the way that editor.js works. So if I look at editor.js, the controller, okay, so we added it. Let's take a look at what I did. I got my notes here. It's quite complicated and to figure it out the first time. We've created a form. We've added the editor controller, which is the Stimulus controller. We got rid of all that gubbins from the scaffold. I've put in a div ID and associated that to be just our lead magnet content inside of the Stimulus controller. And now we can take a look at the Stimulus controller, which is surprised I don't have that somewhere. Interesting. Oh yeah, there's one other thing we need to change. The content. Remember I talked about this being JSON. Well, it's actual JSON, not text. So it goes back and forth. Because we're saving it from a Rails form, everything gets all muddled up. So before we save it, we need to parse the content into JSON. I'm just going to write a quick little helper here. Def parse content into JSON, and what we do is that, and exactly it figured it. Copilot figured that out. If our content is a string, not a JSON hash, we're going to parse it out, and we can rescue just in case. If there's a parser error, we can errors add content, it's not valid JSON, and we can throw an abort because we're doing this before the save. So this should never ever happen, of course, but if something happens weird in our application, we'll get that. This is painful, my thing. I don't even know if my camera is working right now. Oops. Okay. So that's good. We can close content. And content should now save our JSON properly. Let's go to the stimulus controller. This is where we get editor working. So we need to import editor JS from editor.js, and we're going to say that this, our content editor, is a new editor.js. Oh, that's why I've got it over there. And the way editor.js works is kind of weird. Well, it's JavaScripty, right? So, so you need to have a holder, and it's going to be this, the magnet content target. Remember, we set that target, which I didn't do up here, static targets magnet content. So that's, if we go back to the form, this is my holder, right? You know, you want to have a div and you're going to stuff all the content into the div. Conceptually, it's not that difficult. It's just a bit weird the way you write it. So in theory, now, this should work. This might be premature for me to try and demo it. Let's move Brave up. And let's take a look at some JavaScript errors, because we're going to get those. Test. We have a content area. There, see, we're actually, this is editor.js. We get our bolding. So editor.js is now working. I probably talked 10 times longer than it took to do. It's just create the stimulus controller, attach the stimulus controller to a form, create a div, put editor.js inside that div. Done. Why we don't have this kind of rich text editor by default in Rails all the time is a mystery to me. We're using that silly action text thing that really looks horrible, I think, and is outdated. And we can simply do it like this. So we've got this working already. Now we can do all kinds of fancy stuff. You can have all the tools right? So if we wanted all, I'm gonna hide Brave again. We can import the tools, and then you can configure those separately. No, I'm just going to copy and paste this all in. So, for instance, you can add all the tools to the toolbar like this. So things like, oops, we need a comma there. So like a header class, an image class, links, lists, paragraphs, tables. If I do that, if I refresh and load this thing up, this is our text. We've got headings. You know, I showed you all the bolding and stuff like that before, but we can do a list. So it's just normal. Ah, crap. Sorry. Start again. So I've added those tools in. So now we can say this is our header. Choose it like that. You know, we can. Let me just restart again with that. So this is our text, and we can change that to be a heading. Our list, you know, so we can make it a list again, and we can even use a slash menu to add those things. This is just awesome. I think this is just amazing text editor, so easy to use. Again, why we're not using it, I don't know. There we go. One of the cool things I think of this, let's the only thing you may notice is that actually I had content in there and it wasn't showing. So why is that, you might ask? So let me figure out why that is. And that's because just because it was in that, we're not using a form anymore. We're not using the Rails form and pulling in stuff. So we need to do that by ourselves. So let me show you what I mean here. There we go. I'm going to create a method that says data get the initial content. And let's write a function inside of our get initial content. It seems to know quite a lot about what it's doing, but that's not what I would do. What I found the best way to do it is to actually have the content hidden on the page. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. And what I did, this is very cheeky, really, is I created a hidden field and called it magnet content hidden and set it to be a target in my editor. Magnet content hidden. And so we would access that by saying, I'm going to copy it from my other one and just fix it because I see I've made a mistake in the other one. So we've got magnet. Is that right? Oh no, just hidden content. There we go. So I get the hidden content target, make sure it exists. If it does exist and it has a value, then we're going to parse out this JSON and put it on the page. And if it doesn't work, we're going to put failed to parse. because you're going to notice that that stuff that I put in by default, of course, was not JSON. So that means I need to fix that. And what's the easiest way to do that? Well, to be honest, the easiest way is to not do that. Is to save it. Wondering what I can do here to make this, to show you. My example. So I've got some sample. I made a sample JSON. So let's do that, and we're going to load it in. New file. Sample1.json. It's not so easy to copy and paste it all in. So this is some example editor.js compatible JSON. Am I showing it? Yes, okay. And I have a little file. So let's go over here. And I'm going to run Rails C. So I've got this method. Painful. Okay, stringify values. I'm gonna read the JSON out of that file that I created. I'm gonna just parse it. So now we have content data. So I've just read the JSON out of a file, really. And then I'm gonna make sure it's all properly saved. Nope. And then there's my lead magnet. Not quite sure what the problem is here. ToString for that. Okay. So by lead magnet, content. Sorry about this, I really messed this one up. Is going to be content data. Update content to be content data. Okay. So now maybe if I refresh, this may not work. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to move on because this is not important. Oh, there it is. So that's what some full JSON data would look like. And, you know, we can change this. We've got the text bubbles and all the rest of that other stuff. So there is editor.js working inside of a Rails app. I just want to make sure where we are in my thing. We're a bit slow. finally, there's one. Okay. We need to save this, right? Because we are actually editing. So, what is this? You know? We need to be able to save it. And that's something we're not doing right now. So how do we save this? And for me, what happens is I would do an on change, because we don't want to have a save box. I think the thing that would be really annoying is that, you know, people are used to when their changes are when they make their changes, things get auto-saved. People are used to auto-save, right? So we want to do an auto-save on this. And auto-save is surprisingly, rich text area, I hate it. And the reason I'm not using it is because I want to do this. This is like what everybody who, I'm just addressing, sorry, I just saw your comment, size comment. Why don't I use a default text editor? There's two reasons I'm not doing it. One is, I think it looks ugly. And second, I wanted this to be a rip-off, for want of a better word, a clone of this guy's other piece of software. And he's using a block style editor. I think block style editors are what the user is used to these days. I don't like that action text, rich text area. I just think it's not modern, which is sad. And it's so easy to get this working. I think that this is a much better solution. So that's why I'm not using it. We need to do autosave. Autosave's pretty easy. Just gonna bring this down. And I think, you know, there's so few changes needed to be able to use editor.js. One of the problems in the Rails community, I think, is that we don't leverage things quite often as much as we should. I think it's pretty easy to do this. What do they want to encrypt this content text? No problem. If you want to encrypt it, I'm not sure which point you want to encrypt it. But I mean, human beings edit things in their language. So let's say English. We could encrypt this going back and forth across the wire at some point. I think it's overkill to encrypt it across, from the UI to the back end, if you want to call it the back end. But you could do it like that, or you can easily store it in the database. If you're using Postgres, you could encrypt the into the column, or you can do it in. I've done so many roll your own encryption methods. We do quite a lot of roll your own encryption in ZonMaster. We have to encrypt so much data for the requirements for Amazon. So we could encrypt like that if we wanted. So let me just do the autosave, and Lucas, you're welcome. Kanagawa Ken. Ohayou gozaimasu. I don't know about you, but it's so humid up here. I'm up in Tohoku, you know. We're going to do a quick autosave. And the way we do an autosave is, should I put it at the bottom? Sure, let's put it at the bottom. On change, we're just going to say save the content. And you say, Phil, well, what's that? What's save the content? And we just do a save content. And where is my previously done save content? And again, I'm going to do this using Turbo to save. So that's one of the advantages, I think, of Rails. And then we already have this wrapped in a form, right? And we can do this async if we want. Consider adding the async keyword. Yeah, I beat you to that one. Thank you. So we're going to prevent the default. So every time we hit a key, it'll autosave. Well, I'll fix that in a minute. But what it's going to do is, this is why we're using the hidden form, you know? I shouldn't have closed that so soon. So that's why we've got the hidden field in this form. What we'll do is grab the data from the editor.js and stuff it into the hidden input, and then just submit our form using Turbo. And everything else will be done auto-magically. And save content. And even better than that, this is the way a lot of people do it, but my preferred way is actually to do it like this. Instead of simply doing an onChange, we're going to use debounce. If you know what debouncing is, debouncing is making sure that you don't call something too often. So we're going to say it can only be called every 200 milliseconds. What's the problem here? Did I put that in the wrong place? I don't think I did. Not quite sure. I'm missing something, aren't I? onChange. Save content. Save content. Not quite sure why it thinks I'm not at the end. Ugh. Because that's wrong. Oh, I cut off the bottom, that's why. Sorry, my typing. I can't even paste properly. Save content, save content. And how do we get debounce, you say? Debounce is, again, it's you know, it's a standard JavaScript thing that we should be using more of these things. And if I can switch tabs, let's exit. Oh my God, come on, exit. And we're gonna do a yarn. There's a few different debounce. Just wanted to make sure you guys are seeing the right thing. Yarn add load dash debounce. So that's going to add the JavaScript library into our yarn, into our package. And then we simply import it into our editor controller. Up at the top. And maybe up there. So we've got debounce. So what, again, just to go over this, what happens is on change every 200 milliseconds max, we're going to call debounce with this save content. So it's going to asynchronously call save content. It's going to stop our form from doing anything, doing the prevent default. The reason it's like this is that in some cases we don't get called with an event. Oh, we can call it event. That's why. Some cases we don't get called with an event. And then the output data, we grab the content from editor.js. And then there's the form, and then we stuff that content into the hidden input, and then we submit the form using Turbo. Let's see if that actually works. So in theory, what is this stuff? I'm doing something here, and oh, I've got to refresh the page. There we go. I'm gonna just reload. Very sorry about the speed of my computer. test. And we can see in the background, oh, there we go. See, it saved something. Now, did it do it right? No, it didn't do it right. But I'm going to just, what is this? It's saving. You can see something going on in the background. Let's just see why I probably don't have a TurboStream renderer. Oh, what's all that? Unknown parameter content. Oh, it's contents controller. So it's contents controller update TurboStream, and I didn't update the contents controller. So what do we got here? The contents controller. Let's just see what we got at the bottom. That's fine. Oh, I didn't recover from my previous typo. And then the other thing is, I think I need some kind of TurboStream contents. Yeah. It might work. Let's try this again. Again, I don't want to waste too much time on this kind of stuff. But oh, lead magnet. Let's go back to the top here. Now, lead magnet. There we go. Test 1. What is this? Oh, so it did save it. I'm not quite sure why it's not doing the TurboStream. I'm going to look in my comments in a second, because maybe one of you more clever people has figured it out. Content. I think that the reason is that I'm not in my contents. Oh, it's probably this, isn't it? Contents controller. Here, update. I need to do that. Format TurboStream. I don't think I need to have a view. I might be wrong. Because update format TurboStream. I think it's going to call the show, so let's try that. Go back. Holy cow, man. After this, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to work on OpenAI. There it is. What is this? Awesomeness. And I believe it saved that. It did. Yeah, the autosave is now working. And it's so good, you don't even notice it's doing it. The only way you notice is if you look down at the bottom. How are you? It is doing stuff down at the bottom, saving. So there we go. Autosave done. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to, okay, I've got to get on and do this AI stuff. So give me 5 minutes and I will be back to do AI. Oh, I guess I didn't mute my microphone. I'm back. Little sustenance. So we've got editor.js working. One little thing I wanted to show is this hover. Let's create another one. This might be a mistake to do this, but these hover things here. Now, right now they're not hovering. And that's to show the trash can. If I add some CSS, CSS, and we can also create a new stimulus controller. Stimulus hover actions. And I'm just gonna paste in my thing. Look at that, how slow that is. Incredible, actually. Literally no idea what it's doing. It seems to be just sitting there. Hover actions looks like this. And we can, this is a reusable thing. When the mouse enters, we're going to just show delete icon, and we're going to remove show delete icon. And show delete icon is this little thing that moves so that we make sure we have enough space to show the icon. And so if I refresh, and of course I didn't add hover actions to anything. Did I? There we are. Look at that. Little icon pops out. And I've got this data controller added to this list item. Index. Up here. Hover actions. I already had this before because I copied the later version of my code. So when it this thing shows, it's only going to show up when you're hovered over top of it. So that's pretty cool. And then you can delete, and we'll delete using TurboStream, of course. All right, enough of that. Let's get on to some AI. And I didn't show, oh, I did show you, okay. Are we here? We're here. So, down you go. What we're going to do, I'm going to stop this, the app for a minute. Bring it up. I'm going to close all my views. So what are we trying to do here? We are going to contact the AI, we need to do some things. First of all, we need, if you've ever used ChatGPT, you need to pass a prompt. So we need something that's going to store these prompts. I'm calling them system prompts, for want of a better word. And that's kind of the prompt that we wrap around the data that the user gives us. So the user may say, write me something about Jean-Luc Picard, but we want to wrap that in give us a 5-point listicle, give us a 10-point listicle, write a short story in the dialogue of a pirate, or whatever it is you want to do. So we're going to create something to hold those system prompts because we want to give a bunch of them. So let's call something system prompt, and it's going to have a name. It's going to have a description. Why? We won't probably ever use that. We're going to use the content, or the actual prompt that we are sending up to OpenAI. And I think that's all we need. Yeah, that looks good to me. And it's ridiculous how slow my machine is. If there was something, I've quit everything. I've got nothing else running except OBS and VS Code and Brave. So never try and do a 4-hour live stream with OBS. All right, create the system prompt. Let's migrate, Rails DB migrate, and while that's doing its thing, let's go and look at system prompt. Oh my God, okay. Crazy. Okay, it's done that. Let's bring this down low. And while we're here, let's validate name and the prompt. Just make sure. And let's make our own controller. Because we're not going to offer any way of editing this. That's kind of like an admin function. I'm not going to get into that. So the only thing we need is a controller for the system prompts, and it's only going to have an index, and I'm not going to say index because we don't even need a view, because we're going to do all this with JSON or JSON. Somebody could tell me in the comments, is it JSON as in Friday the 13th or JSON? I wonder. 25 minutes later, my controller will be created. I'm going to have to stop using the generators in a minute because it's taking so long. So the system prompts controller. All we need is the index. Not index error. And we want to just grab all the system. Look at that. System prompts. And render JSON system prompts. That's all we need our controller to do. And we need a root. Resources. System prompts. And we only need the index. You can limit your roots from the standard. These ones here, like these ones here, are going to give you all of the verbs, index, show, update, create, delete, or you can limit that to just by, if you say only, then you can just have just an index, because we only need the index in this case. And how are we going to see these? We want to show these in that modal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another stimulus controller. Ugh, so painful. So it's Rails G stimulus lead magnet modal. So we're going to create, I just want to make sure I spelled that right, lead magnet modal. Ridiculous. You know, this is probably going to take another 2 hours. An hour of which is going to be me waiting for my computer to do something very simple. Okay. Lead magnet modal. I'm going to copy and paste this and then walk you through it. So we're going to attach this lead magnet modal to the lead magnet. To that lead magnet modal in the index, which I might have done already because I'm not sure when I copied it from. Yeah, so we have a data controller lead magnet modal already on there because, again, I copied this from a later version. So when that modal pops up, it's going to connect to this controller, stimulus controller, and when we show our modal, so not just on the page at any time, but when we actually show the modal, every time we show the modal, we're going to load in the system prompts. And load in the system prompts are simply going to do a fetch, in other words, a get to the index of system prompts. So that's the system prompts controller index that we saw. See, it returns the JSON, and then it's going to iterate over that JSON and put it into the thingamajiggy, the select. Now, do we have a select? No, we don't. So we need to get a template select target. Which do we have? And that means we need to update the form. And I'll just make sure I do the right thing. So we're going to replace this stuff that we got from the scaffold with this one. So this is the old way here. And just something simple. We're going to leave the label, but we're going to create a select instead of a text field. And we're going to prompt with select a template, and we're going to make it a form control. And then we've set it to be a target on our lead magnet modal stimulus controller of template select. So now we can get rid of this. And what that means is we have this target here, template select target, and we're going to just replace the inner HTML with select a template, which is what we were doing before. And then for each of the prompts, we're going to create an element. So the prompts, I created just some bog standard system prompts. So let me just create that file here. I'm going to do that with YAML. Put that in the database directory because it's kind of seed data, and we're going to create a 5-point listicle, 10-point listicle, a detailed guide, and a blog post summary. And if we look at what I'm doing here, so we got the name, that's what's going to show up in the list, and then the prompt, this is what gets passed to ChatGPT. And we're saying create a 5-point listicle about whatever it is that the user typed in. We'll substitute that. And then we're going to say output in native block format for editor.js. Only output the summary, no other commentary, create a new article headline as well. So this output in native block for editor format for editor.js works in ChatGPT 4. I don't think it works in ChatGPT 3. But it does work in ChatGPT 4. It understands what editor.js is. If we want it to be really sophisticated, we could create our own LLM that had the editor.js documentation. I leave that as an exercise to you. I'm just going to load that data in. And what I'm going to do is create a rake file. Where are those going? Lib tasks, new file, system prompts.rake, and here's my code, and that goes off and it finds the system prompts YAML file in my DB directory, loads in that YAML, and then goes off and based on the name either updates or creates a system prompt. So that's all good. So if we save that, and then in 25 minutes when it's saved, we can do a Rails DB load system prompts. While you're waiting, you could be drinking a coffee from my Real Life Rails coffee mug series that I've got for sale. This one says, "I'm full stack" on the back. Got t-shirts, coffee cups, and so on. Please enjoy. Proceeds from the sales goes to help me buy seeds for my garden. All right, could it be done? It's possible. God, this should have taken 5 minutes to do. So frustrating. Certainly, I would never do another screencast with this. Okay, system prompt.all. They're in there. Okay, so they're all loaded in. That's fine. Now, if we... Is my thing still running? No, it's not. I stopped it, which is... Now it's going to take another time. And let's load Brave up. Refresh our page. And now when we create a new lead magnet, that doesn't work because something is not loaded. Lead magnet controller is there. It looks like it didn't save the form. Yeah. There we go. So now we've got our AI templates. Of course, they're not going to do anything yet. So let me go back and make it do something before. Normally, I would show you it submitting and not doing anything, but because of the time it's taking for everything to do, I'm not going to do that. So everything's in there. System prompts, got all that. So how are we going to connect to OpenAI? What we're going to do is use the OpenAI gem, of course. So bundle add Ruby OpenAI. That's I'm going to stop this here. The OpenAI gem. It's not an official gem, I don't think. Ruby OpenAI. It's from Alex Ruddle. Amazing gem. I mean, it does exactly what you need it to do. Goes out, you give it your API key, and contacts OpenAI, and you can do all your stuff with that. Easy peasy. So Alex Ruddle's OpenAI. That's installed. Now we're gonna close off these views. Close all. We don't have, I don't think, a .env file yet. So I'm going to create a .env file. .env. And we need a key in here called OpenAI access token. And it will equal your OpenAI access token. You can get that from OpenAI. Let me just show you where. You have to go to platform.openai.com. Platform keys, of course, it's so slow I clicked it twice. And here you can create some new API keys and so on and so forth. And I'm just going to use my key that I've created specifically for this. So I'm going to delete it. So if you guys see it, that's fine. It doesn't matter. So let's just move you. All right. So we're going to create the OpenAI access token. Where is it? That's mine. Oh my gosh. I may not be able to finish this because I think my machine will probably die. So there's my OpenAI access token. And the other thing we want to do is create an initializer. Called OpenAI.rb. And we're just going to set up the library. Is that going to work? There. So we'll just fetch the OpenAI access token and set the timeout. Because we're going to use our app's OpenAI token, not the customer's. And the reason we're going to do that is because if you let your customer paste in their OpenAI access key, they will see all of your prompts. Now maybe you want to keep your prompts proprietary. That's why I'm doing it like this. So that way our prompts are kind of hidden from the customer. And I'm going to create a wrapper. In theory, what we would be able to do is choose from different AI services, like you want to use Cloud or whatever like that. So I'm going to create a AI wrapper, and maybe in the future we could switch which AI engine we're using, and then we're going to create a real OpenAI client.rb, and this is our actual class that talks to OpenAI. And it's pretty simple. If you've seen my other screencast, or whatever you want to call it, about connecting to ChatGPT, you know how this works. I go in, I create my client, and then we go off and we chat with the client. We set our model. I'm hard coding it here to be the latest ChatGPT 4. We stuff our prompt in, and that is the prompt that's a merger of our system prompt and what the customer gave in. And we wait for it to come back. I'm going to stream it. That works best for long responses. I'm going to set a max token of 1500, which is pretty big. And because it doesn't always work, sometimes ChatGPT will decide that it should bracket your JSON with a code block of JSON. And so what I do is if that's in there, I just get rid of it, and then parse the remaining data. This should work. It not 100% of the time, but yeah. So what we need now, of course, is to call this. My machine is unusably slow. I'm not quite sure what to do here. So we need to update our generate content to use that new wrapper and so on. So if we open lead magnet, call generative AI. Oh no. There we go. And generate the prompt. So let's create a new method called generate prompt. I can't even change windows now. And that generate prompt will merge the two, so we don't need to pass in these values because we're on the same model. Generate prompt. So it should, in theory, work. I'm not sure what's happened here either. Oh, I see. It's split them. Let's close these. All right, I'm going to run this code. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here because I really don't think my computer's going to last. We're getting some drop frames now. That OBS is a piece of crap, really. Look at the incredible usage that it's doing. I don't think I can stop and restart. Anyway, very disappointing. Refresh this. Create a new lead magnet. Test 2. I'm going to create a 10-point listicle. Write the best things about Jean-Luc Picard. Create. It should go off. And it has not. I can see that it has an error. Oh man. I don't know what is going on. Okay, what's the error here? Couldn't find a system prompt. So the ID is wrong. We've somehow set the ID to be incorrect. That's probably from the lead magnet modal controller. The value shouldn't be the prompt. The value should be the ID. That sucks. All right. Try this again. Very, very frustrating. Okay, lead magnet. Ten-point listicle. Create. Wrong number of arguments given. Jeez. Given 1, expected 2, magnet 942. You don't need the template there. Let's try one more time. Save. Ridiculous, man. Okay. Holy cow, there we are. Well, that's something. So it has written a 10-point listicle about Jean-Luc Picard. If you're happy with that, which I am, we can move on to using the email creator. Painful. Can I do that? Why not stop the stream and continue the remainder? I have a stupid thing that I can't see all the comments because there's a thing on the and continue the remainder as a video we can watch later. Yeah, what's the difference? I'll keep on going. I'd rather have it in one place for now. Email form. Let's go to the email form. So we want to now do the email capture. I'm gonna motor on here. So we want to add some extra fields. I didn't give it enough fields in there. Trash this. I'm gonna stop it. Trash it. Exit. Exit. Let's create a new terminal. Good. Okay, let's add the fields that I didn't create before. Copy. I don't think that copied. Copy. So I'm going to add some fields to that sign up form. Just make sure that I called it sign up form, which I did. A field, the labels, you know, because maybe you want to change those from name and email to something else. We need a privacy policy URL and the color of the submit button. So let's add those fields. And dun dun dun, 25 minutes later. I don't really know that the video is even working right. I don't know if my voice and picture is synced up. I wish there was a way I could rejoin the stream. DB migrate. It's weird that the typing is responsive, but nothing else. So let's close everything else but lead magnet. And so now, similar kind of thing. After we've created the lead magnet, we also want to generate a sign-up form. So like we generated the AI content, after we create, let's generate, why don't I just do it in the same line? How about we generate a sign-up form? And let's go down here. Def generate a sign-up form. And we're simply gonna, let's do a very similar thing, create sign-up form. Because we only have one, we have a has one. We can just do this, and it'll create a submit button with a default of submit, default color with the blue, that's the bootstrap blue there, and create the label of email and the name of name, and we're all good to go. So that's automatically going to do that. And then we want to do a similar kind of thing in lead magnet show. Is that right? Did I not put that in there? All right, well, we're going to do where's the views? Views, sign up form. So we need a turbo stream, right? So let's edit.turbostream.erb, and that, what we're going to do is similar kind of thing what we did with the content, is I'm going to replace that block. Oh my god, I didn't move the browser. All right. I did a create signup form inside of the lead magnet as an after create. And so that creates one signup form. I added some fields to the signup form in case you didn't see that. And now I'm doing an edit turbo stream, which is the form to edit the signup form. And we're going to do the same kind of thing. We were going to replace that right-hand block, the lead magnet content, with this new form, which is the sign up form builder. And we need to have a stimulus controller as well. But let's see what we can do without that for now. And we want to have that right-hand side, which was the preview, which I thought was kind of really cool. I've never done that kind of hot preview before. So I'm going to create a new view in here called _preview HTML ERB. And that's going to be kind of a funky representation of our form. Now let's see what we got. So we got that, got the preview, and now we need to show preview. No, it's the other show. Not quite sure where that is. Okay. My app sign up form show. All it needs to do is show the preview. Ah, right, because I'm going to call a show on that. And my controller, sign up form controller. In my show, we're going to do a layout false. Is that right? Sign up controller. Yeah. We don't need a layout because we're doing a preview. And because the other thing is going to be shown, the form is going to be shown in another call. So that should work. Let's see what happens. I think I'm going to have to stop the stream after this. I can't even click my mouse. What a pile of garbage. Bin dev. Oh yeah, painful. I would imagine, okay, it's 29 now. Let's see how, it probably is going to take 2 minutes to start the server. Amazing, actually. See, we want to have amazing, sophisticated things like this, but yeah, even the comments are coming in very, very slow, because the comment says move the Brave window, but I just saw that comment and the Brave window is not there anymore. Wow. Horrible. Horrible, horrible. And I didn't do that email capture. So I just need to take a quick look at lead magnet show. Yeah, it's crazy. No. Well, there we go. I have to, okay, move this down. Lead magnet. I didn't put the little thing to show the email capture. So this is going to again make a turbo call across just to show the email capture. Notice we're calling edit. So that's going to show the edit on the email capture. And then it's going to stuff the result into the lead magnet content. So let me bring Brave up again. Wow. I might not have put the root in. Yeah. Let me just fix the root. Lead magnet. What is it saying? Edit sign up form path. I've got resource sign up forms. Oh. Ah. Holy cow, come on. I need the sign up form. This thing doesn't have a sign up form already. Okay. Oh. Unfortunately, people, I'm going to have to stop it. I can't even click my mouse. Well, 2.5 hours. Very disappointing, actually. That the reason I have to stop it is because of the streaming software. Yeah. I can't do anything. So, sorry guys. I think we're done. I'm going to try one more thing here. I mean, I don't even, yeah. It says that you should be seeing Brave, and yet I don't see Brave. So I think we're done. Thanks for watching. I might start another live stream. Otherwise, I'm going to continue on just the screen capture. Thanks for watching my first ever live stream. Very disappointing that this has ended up like this. Well, yeah, I might fire up another live stream right now, just restart my machine, and we'll see what happens. I like this to do. I wish I could do it just like a live stream, but it's a shame that this stupid software has destroyed my my computer. So I might be back in a minute. Otherwise, I will continue on as a video. Thanks for watching. Okay, am I back? I don't know. I have no idea what happened. I hope I haven't just wiped out the other stream. I don't know if anybody's still there. I have no idea why none of my windows are working. You'd think it would work. Okay, that's working. Let's Brave coding hires. Yeah, it seems like Brave is dead as far as working with this. Let's add a macOS screen capture. And we're going to window application capture Brave from there. Okay. Who knows if what's going on? I'm just going to continue. If anybody's still watching on the live stream, please let me know. Where were we? All right. I'm going to start you. Not right. In dev. I don't know if this is going to be any better or how long it's going to work or if it's working at all. It seems like it's working. I mean, it's certainly killing my machine again already. What a load of garbage. Actually, if I may be so blunt. I don't understand how you can write a piece of software that is kind of doing one thing and it doesn't do that one thing. Isn't that? Sometimes I think I hold too high expectations for myself. Yeah. Nah. This is a waste of time. Got warning. I mean, who can tell what's going on anyway? Just hopeless, if I have to say so myself. Close the window. I don't know what that's doing. That's that. You. All I can see is warning. It's the world's most useless. Well, it's saying my current bit rate is too low. How can my current bit rate be too low? Anyway. Okay. I'm just going to continue on. This might be a complete waste of a day for me, but that's fine. C'est la vie, right? So where were we? We got this far that we were showing the 2 email capture forms. The only thing I wasn't, of course, doing was not actually updating. So what I want to do is create another stimulus controller to do the updating. For me, stimulus controllers are almost like they're just blocks of JavaScript, right? Stimulus is just objectified JavaScript. So before we used to put jQuery on the page and all the rest of it. You used to have to manage how that page was loaded, and then with Turbo, pages were loaded little bits here and there, and you didn't know what was going on, and Stimulus kind of fixed all of that. So now we wrap our JavaScript code inside of a stimulus controller, and that makes life a little bit easier and kind of gives us a lot more power to do different things like this. So I'm going to create I think everybody's gone because I announced that the stream is over. So sorry guys. Yeah. So I've got my sign up form builder, and what that is going to do I've created a stimulus controller called sign up form builder, and what this will do is send off the an update So essentially kind of an autosave. And if we look at my form, edit form, we can see that every time we make a change to something, we're going to call update preview. So it's a kind of a hacky version of a autosave. And that means once I reload this, load this thing, email capture. If I change the colors, and we're not seeing anything happen. And that's because we're getting, I think it's updating, but we're not seeing. I just want to move this. Yeah, it's updating, but what have I got? I've got unpermitted parameters. So, these are all those things that I added. Remember using the migration, so we need to put those into the safe parameters here. So now we've got everything in there. Now, in theory, I should be able to, there we go. It should be updating. Let's quit this, give it a little bit more space, and let's try again. Painful, painful, painful. And yep, it has updated that. And what looks like, oh, it did do it. Did it? Yeah, there we go. Our submit is everything is working. That means if we add a headline, that is going to show up. Change our submit, change everything. It's going to update this controller. Hot preview, right? Really nice. I love this. This is one of the things you see all the time people doing in React and so on. We can do that here in Stimulus. Is it a little bit more complicated? I'm not even sure that it is a little bit more complicated than doing it in React. I'm not a React expert, so I'm not really fit to comment. Hey, it's there's Lucas is back at least. I don't know if anyone else is watching. I don't know what this, I'm getting a warning that my bitrate is too low, though on one hand it says my bitrate is high enough, so I don't really understand. But yes, so we're just doing the live preview of the editing this this thing. I love this, to be honest. This to me is one of the coolest things I learned how to do while I was doing this demo. Yeah. I could spend hours just changing the color and watching it change. So that's the form. I think pretty much that's it for the form. So the form's all good. So what else can we do now? Oh yeah. So we want to show the page now. So now we've got this content, and that's nice, but right now we're not really, I'm not sure why that's happening. It's not doing a turbo. Oh, contents controller show. So we can see here that it's calling contents show HTML or ERB. That means we didn't do a show.turbostream.erb under contents. And what should that have? I think that just does, oh, it just does the same thing that we do in the lead magnet show. By default we do this, right? This lead magnet content. So we just want to do the same thing in that show turbo stream. So now we should be able to go back here and click there. Oof. God knows what's going on there. Email capture and content. There we are. Switch back and forth. Awesome. But we want to show the page. Again, maybe you didn't see what I was doing there because I didn't move the browser. I didn't have a show TurboStream for the contents, and all that does is take the thing that we were doing in the lead magnet show and put it into the TurboStream show for contents, because when we click the Brave controller, we're showing the contents. So right now, though, we're not showing the page. One of the requirements of this lead creator program that we're knocking off is that we want to be able to share this. And that means we don't want people to obviously see the edit and everything like this. We want them to see just a page that just has this information. It's a lead magnet, right? So how are we going to accomplish that? First of all, we need to have some kind of share token so that people know, that we can give to people and say, go to this URL. Right now, we're just going to use kind of a secure random hex for that. You can do anything else, if you want to do something more clever or whatever. You can do that. So I'm just going to use a share random, and then we're going to create a controller that shows just that shared version. So let's add the shared token first of all. So make sure that you're seeing the right thing. Down we go. So let's add a shared token and an expiration time so that we can say only show up for a week or something like that. I'm going to add that. My machine is again dead slow almost instantly after opening up OBS, so that's garbage. And let's migrate. And we'll just take the easy way out, and every time we create a lead magnet, we're going to create a shared token. But that we're going to do in a before create, because we want to save that with a form, right? So generate shared token, or share token. Get the words right. So what would a generate share token look like? So we need to set our share token column. I typed so fast. Anyway, secure random hex 16. That'll just give us a crazy string. Let's just annotate. Saving is so slow that everything is overwriting each other. That's a real problem. Incredible. I know I've said incredible about 1,000 times on this stream about how crap OBS is. Yep. Try again. And so we're going to have a expirable share token, and which may or may not be expired. If we haven't set a date, then we don't want it to expire. So I'm just going to put in some helper methods here to handle that. And so we're generating the share token, that's fine. But when we create a link, we want to know if we need some expiry days or not. and we check to see if there is an expiry date, are we within that expiry date? So pretty straightforward, I think. And then we can also look at the controller. We're going to create a shared, and this is where I made my mistake before, actually. So we're going to def shared, and this will be the thing that reads the lead magnet by share token. So get the share token, and if that link, if everything's valid, then we'll show it, and if it's not, then we're going to send them to a link expired page. So first of all, why do I do it to myself? So the shared page is essentially just the content. We're just going to show the content page. So views, lead magnet, new file. We're calling that shared.html.erb. And we're just going to have them come in and see the content wrapper. So again, if I Rails C and I'm gonna, for each one, just gonna update, so we have a share token. While I'm at it, in the controller, we want to use this authenticate user except for shared. That way the person who's seeing it doesn't have to be logged in. You saw my little demo at the beginning, that was the problem I had. So we want lead magnet.all.each do lm, and I'm going to do generate the share token, and then I'll save it. And that should update everything. And did it create a shared token? Yes. It's a bit silly that it does that. Lead magnet.first. Share. I don't know why it's... Oh, because it's got the word token in it. Anyway, so there's my token. So now we need some kind of root, and that's going to do something a little bit different, right? So when we use the word shared, in our roots, I've done this before in several apps and it's quite handy. So we're going to have a shared / token, and that's actually just going to point to the lead magnets controller shared. So if I grab my thing here and I go up to Brave, in theory I can create a new tab, and that does work. Localhost, localhost 3000 shared / the token. It should go off, and unmethified display content. Where is that? I'm going to show you what's going on here. The content, remember, is in that JSON format. It's like this. So we can't just show it. This is kind of the one pain in the butt about editor.js. So we need to kind of, to me, this is very inefficient. There's probably a better way to do it, but this is the way I'm going to do it. We need to parse it ourselves. It seems crazy to me that we have to do this. And I hope maybe there's a better way to do it and I'm just missing it. Helpers. No, cancel. Helpers. And the contents helper. Let's make a display content. And what that's going to do, and that'll be content in JSON. So let's go back. Display content. Oh boy. Okay. Sorry. I hope you saw. I don't know where you didn't see. So we need to display the content. We need to, parse it ourselves. So I've created in the contents helper a display content thing. And we're going to pass in the content, which remember is in JSON format. So we're going to do a contents helper. And it's super silly that we have to do this. So it's literally ridiculous that we have to do this, but there you go. I'm pasting it in because that's a lot easier. So we have to go through every block type, iterate over the content, and we've got a blocks map, and if it's a type of paragraph, we're going to wrap it in a paragraph. If it's type of a header, we're going to get the level, which is H1, H2, H3, H4, and then we're going to put the text in there. And if it's a list item, we're going to do it like that. And if it's an unordered list, we do it like this. And if it's an image, we do it like that, and so on and so forth. It's really ridiculous. There's other ones that I haven't done, so you probably will have to do that yourself. But if we refresh now, there we go. We see as proper text our thing, our lead magnet. So we can now share this URL with anyone, which is 50% of the thing of a lead magnet, right? But the other side, which is equally as important, is we want to capture the email. So let's talk about capturing the email. I think done all that. I'm going to leave, because it's taking so long to do this, I'm going to leave that little bit where in here you click to copy and you get the URL. I'm sure you can figure that out. You just put a little JavaScript thing there and you click it, and we've already generated the link token, right? So the shared token. So you just copy and paste that. That's pretty simple. I'm going to leave that out. Sorry, folks. And if you really want, I can make another little video about sharing it. But what we need to do is we want to show that capture the email form when we're looking at the page. Oh my God, didn't. This is ridiculous to do like this. So what I'm saying is I'm not going to do this little thing here, copy the link. You can figure that out, how to do that yourself. It's not complicated. If you need help with that, let me know. I'll maybe make another video. But we do need to show the email form. And we do that. We can close this now. On this shared page, we're going to add some stuff. First of all, we're going to make another stimulus controller. Just going to see, I might be actually getting ahead of myself. because I want to cut some stuff out here. No, okay, we'll show the modal first, and then give the functionality later. Okay, I'm going to update the page a little bit, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to just hide this. Can we hide it? Nope. Can bring it down. So we've got another data controller, which is a stimulus controller. I'm going to call that delayed modal. And this is the page, the content wrapper. That's totally fine. We don't need to do anything with that. But we're going to put in the modal here. And as you can see, modal content goes here. So what we want to do now then is create a stimulus controller called delayed modal that will show this after a period of time. So Rails G stimulus delayed modal. And this is surprisingly easy. I feel bad because I think Sai from India has gone, and hopefully he'll be able to watch this later. So sometime tomorrow it'll finish making this, creating an empty file. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, how can it actually be using so much resources on my computer even? So we're going to add in a couple static targets, and one of those will be the modal, and then the other one is going to be that content wrapper. I don't think I actually use it, but good to have. And then we want a static value of the delay, how long to wait before we show that thing. And maybe we don't have a delay value. Yeah, I'm just going to copy and paste this in because it's so simple. It's like 4 lines. If we have a delay value, set the delay value. Otherwise, let's wait 10 seconds. And then we show the modal. And all the show the modal, hide the modal, and the blur is just us doing stuff in Bootstrap. And the modal here we get from importing Bootstrap. Simple. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, we just do all the we're just kind of doing all the Bootstrap stuff ourselves, programmatically. So I think that's all we need to do. And we should, if I refresh this page, okay, I'm going to show the page first so you can see what I'm talking about. If I refresh this page, after 10 seconds, because I haven't set a value, I don't think, we should see the modal come up. That's what I'm hoping anyway. 10 seconds is, of course, I mean, on this computer, 10 seconds might be a year. I don't know. I might get some JavaScript errors here. No? And we can see it's not connected. Oh my. Let's, I guess this didn't save. Try that again. There we go. Delayed modal, initialize delayed modal, connect. So then we should see the delayed modal come up after 10 seconds, one would hope. There it is. So after 10 seconds, we have that. And we just show the modal content, which we know is, you know, what we've shown before. Where are you? And that's just really a form. I'm going to just copy and paste this. Okay, we're going to move Brave away. And shared, put your thing here. Modal body. We're just going to replace it with the form. And that's just our form from our sign-up field. Right, it uses the button text, and the background color is that button color that we've set. Everything is fine. So if I refresh this again, wait 10 seconds, oops, and I'm going to show it to you. Now I don't know whether it's saved. Oh boy. Uninitialized content, lead magnet sign up. Ah. That is something we didn't think about. How are we going to save these signups? Well, we need to create something called a lead magnet signup. And that's something that we haven't done yet. I must have gotten my notes out of order. So let's find where I do that. I actually think it's in the next step. And final step, by the way. Collect the emails. Yeah. So we're gonna save these signups as a whole other model. Oh my gosh. So we're going to generate a new model called a lead magnet signup. We're going to have an email, a name, and which lead magnet they signed up from. So we're just going to generate that. Oh, I see. Yeah, I did get ahead of myself in my notes. Okay, and Rails DB migrate. And now all of this code will work. I was creating a dummy object here to do the form model. And we're going to need some roots as well. So in the lead magnets, you can do nested roots like this. So now we have lead magnet signups underneath, underneath there. And if we're lucky, this will work, but it might not, because I haven't done the controller, but I don't think it checks the controller until later. And it's going to chug away, and nope, hide you. lead magnet signups path. That's because it hasn't saved properly. Lead magnet sign up path. Let's try that again. There we are. Okay, so we have the form, which is going to pop up in a minute. And there we go. And we submit that. We want to get rid of these close and title, probably. And we fill in our name, we fill in our email, and we send it off. We don't have the controller yet. So let's make the controller. Yeah, so we need, did I make the controller? I don't think I did. No. Rails G controller lead magnet signups. Just gonna look at something. Sai said something anyway. Give us some suggestions while writing the code, like how to review the code in tips and tricks. I'm not really sure how to answer that. I think my whole thing is tips and tricks. So I don't know much more I can say than that. So when it's created the controller, there we go. We are going to only create a create method. Def create, not create contents, create. And just gonna copy and paste. So it just finds the lead magnet that we've used to sign up with, create the lead magnet sign up for that lead magnet, and then save it. And if we save it, we're going to send back some JSON. And I'll just check that I've got that. That looks good to me. But I think still it's not going to work. Because we're not submitting the form. I want to submit the form using stimulus. So let's create another stimulus controller. When you submit the form by clicking, I think you lose a lot of control. So stimulus lead magnet sign up stimulus controller. And I'm gonna again copy and paste because it's gonna be a nightmare to try and type this in. This is a marathon. But, so okay, it's gonna take me 4 hours. I've been sitting here with you guys for 4 hours. I said 3, but I'm going to give myself a break because of all these computer problems. And in 4 hours, we're going to have pretty much this full piece of software that this guy is claiming cost him $40,000 to produce. And you're saying, well, he designed it. And I said, yeah, okay, but the developer cost him $40,000, not the design. So there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect. Again, we're importing Bootstrap, and we're going to find our modal, and we're going to hook into it, and when we submit the form, we're going to stop it, and we're going to specifically grab the data and submit it. We'll use the method, which of course is going to be a post or a patch, and a post, and we'll get the body, and we'll send that across. And then with our JSON response, if it worked, we're going to show the message. And if it didn't work, we're going to show the error. And our show the message is going to just simply take the div and stuff in an alert at the top. Pretty cool, actually. Let's close this for now. I just want to fix one thing. I really don't like that. We don't need that title because we have a headline, and we don't want that close because we don't want people to close it. And so that should be that. Let's refresh. And I'll show you the Brave browser. After 10 seconds, we should get something. And I'm just going to move over so we can see that down the bottom. Okay, there's our modal. Test user 2. Test 2 at test.com. And if we submit, what happens? We get something over there. And undefined method lead magnet signups. So lead magnet signups controller create. Undefined method. You know what we didn't do? We didn't do a has many. So has many lead magnet signups. We might be able to submit it again. So just for your own information there. Oops. We didn't have this line, has many lead magnet signups, because remember we added lead magnet signups afterwards, and even if we didn't, we would not have known about it until we put that line in there. So let's bring Brave back up. Let's go back to the Ruby and let's see what happens. And I'm going to try again. Oh my gosh, it still says it's saving lead magnet. All right. I don't know what's going on with this window either. So now let's submit again. Oh, there you go. Thanks for signing up. And it's hidden the modal and gotten rid of the blur. And we're all good to go. People now have their lead magnet. If we go over, I don't know why I can't show you the console. Oh, there we are. So we posted to lead magnet signups, and it inserted a lead magnet signup into our database. So we have in our database now the user signed up, and we're showing them the lead magnet after they've signed up. So that's I'm gonna hide Brave so you can actually see what I was just talking about. So here we've inserted into lead magnets, and we have everything. We have the guy in our database. I don't really need, I'm not going to show you, you believe me, because it can take forever to do that. So we're very close to the end here, because there's one other thing I quickly want to do, and that is to show you sending the email to MailerLite. And MailerLite, if you don't know, is an email management service like MailChimp, and you can use it. So we're going to send all of our emails that we're gathering over to MailerLite, and then you can use them in your own emailing list, and you've captured them, which is the whole point. So what we need to do is we need to somehow store our settings. So I'm going to create a key value store. This is pretty cool. The reason I want to show it is because I think this is pretty cool. So we're going to generate a settings object on the command line with polymorphic. So it's a polymorphic reference to the owner, and with a key value pair of string and text, because you never know how big that's going to be. And in 10 minutes or so, that'll be done. And one of the things we are going to want to do is we're going to have some settings that are specific to the lead magnet. So we're going to do a has many settings as owner for that. But we're also going to do some settings on the whole user account. Like, so I'm not going to set my MailerLite API key on every single lead magnet. I want to set it once on my user. So the user, for the first time, we're going to edit that, and we're going to add has many settings as owner on the user as well. So in a settings object, when we call owner, it could either be a user or it could be a lead magnet. And I've got to do this migrate before I can edit the settings. Yeah, this part's pretty neat. There's some neat things in this. I mean, while I wait for this thing to work, I think doing that hot preview of the sign up form is pretty cool. I think using all the Hotwire for loading all the views is pretty interesting. Stimulus is pretty standard. I think doing this polymorphic key value pair is also kind of interesting. But I really want this to end now. It's only 3.5 hours, so that's pretty good. I'm going to finish probably in 4 hours, and I said 3. And as you can see, I've spent a lot of time waiting for my computer. So let's update the settings. And so it belongs to owner, polymorphic true, which is pretty cool. And we're going to validate that there is a key, and we're going to be able to request by just the key and an owner, which could be, as I said, either a lead magnet or a user. And also we can set the settings by doing that. And the one thing, because of the way I'm doing it like this, on the user, and we could do this by using a concern or something like that, but nobody uses concerns anymore. Just gonna grab this code. So on the user, we're gonna have a get setting and set setting, and I'm gonna do the exact same code on the lead magnet. So yes, we have some code duplication, which is not very good, but there you go. And we're going to make a controller to handle these settings. Rails G controller lead magnet settings, and we're only going to have an edit and an update. Wow. Never doing this again, by the way. In future, what I will do is simply record videos. Okay, so what do we need to do? So we've got edit and update, and let's take a look at the controller. Hello. What the? There's the controller, and in the edit, we're kind of not hard coding in, but we know what keys we're going to do. And this is the settings that we're going to have on the lead magnet, which is a blur delay and whether we want to send it to MailerLite or not. and we'll do a params helper here. Okay. And then we want to change that edit. It automatically will have created us an edit, and we're going to change this to be TurboStream from HTML. Oh wow. And we're going to replace all that stuff on the right with an edit. And now we're going to do essentially the same thing. For user, we're going to generate a controller, Rails G controller. Oh boy. Rails G controller user settings with an edit and an update. I hope to God I didn't. Okay, yeah. And same kind of thing. We want to make sure okay. We know what we want. Insane. Okay, we want to just have our MailerLite API key. And we'll do our edit. In the user settings, edit. Wow, I can't actually even scroll. Change this to TurboStream. And set the value. So we have our user settings. Is that right? Yes. And we need some roots. Pretty standard way we do this. Generate the model, generate the controller, generate the views, generate the roots. So we have our resources for settings, and then we'll have another resource for user settings. And then we're going to change, okay. Okay. We're going to change this settings to be a link. And I'm going to change the top thing in the menu. Right now we're just showing the user's email. What I'm going to do instead is have it link to the user settings. Okay, let's, I think I'll just check. And I'm going to move Brave up. And let's go over here. Okay. I believe if I click here, I can now enter my user settings. So I could save my MailerLite key, which I'm going to do. Where is it? MailerLite has an insanely long key. Never seen anything like it, actually. So anyway, this is my MailerLite key. And if we go to things like this, that's obviously not formatted properly. Settings, get a setting. That's interesting. Where are you at? Lead magnet, get setting. Oh, I haven't set the lead magnet on the edit. Lead magnet controller. You're not seeing this, are you? And on the edit. Lead magnet settings controller. Ah, set lead magnet. And actually, I should make sure that the user's logged in before they do that. Okay, so let's go back. That, settings. Probably it hasn't saved this yet. Nope. Yeah, I don't want it to be a button, I want it to be that. And I want it to be data turbo stream. So now we'll wait another few minutes for it to save. No, let's refresh. Okay, test 1, test 2, settings. Should, nope. Undefined method lead mag, oh. Really? User. Has many lead magnets. Dependent destroy. That's surprising. I didn't have that. There we go. Settings. Please work. It's not going to work because it would have done it by now. Could undefined method lead magnets for oh, because it hasn't saved it yet. Incredible. It's like working, you know, back in the 1990s. I think it used to take this long. And it's not title for lead magnet. We don't need that anyway. Wouldn't it be nice if it worked? There we go. So we can set our blur delay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. Use that in the thing. We can say send it to MailerLite. And then when we send it to MailerLite, it's super simple. I'm not going to add, because to do it, I need to add all the other things. And am I going to do it? But after we save, where are we? Yeah, okay, fine. We're going to create a model here. And mailer service.rb, again, because we might have many of these, not just MailerLite, but you might also have, get response and MailChimp and all the rest of it. So we're going to just say add subscriber, and then I've got it send active services, but I'm just hardwiring in that we're going to get the MailerLite API key and send it off. And all you need to do is add the gem. We do not use the official MailerLite gem because it doesn't work. We use this guy's gem, MailerLite-Ruby. We can bundle install that. Oh boy. Oh no, I've got that. Oh, but I didn't show you the form working. Great. Anyway, here's the form working for the settings. My brain's getting a bit tired now. So the settings are working there. That's the per lead magnet settings. And then here we have the per user settings. And you can add more settings in there if you wanted. So I'm adding, I've added the gem in there. And again, with this, it's a little bit easier than the OpenAI because we just get the MailerLite API key out of the user's settings, right? We don't need to have our own, so we don't need to put anything in the environment. And then we just create a new client and say create subscriber. And if that subscriber's email already exists, it updates it with a new name. And if it doesn't exist, it just inserts it. So I think I'm done. So we're just under 4 hours, 3 hours and 50 minutes. And I think I've recreated the whole thing. So this was all a point to show you, creating a Ruby on Rails app from start to finish, which I think I did. Well, it's not finished, but you know what I mean. We have a pretty decent MVP here, quite easy to deploy it using Capistrano. Look at my other videos for that. Thank you for staying on this journey with me for so long. Again, like, subscribe, bell notification, buy some merchandise, cups and t-shirts if you want. See my store at shop.realliferails.com. And it's been an absolute frustration to work with this OBS, but I think an experience and worth it. So that's it for me. Thanks for now. And drop me a note if you have any questions and things like that. If you want to see more in any other way, let me know. And I'm going to go back to creating regular videos about things.